Welcome, ahlan wa sahlan, bienvenue, and herzlich willkommen. I'm really excited, I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward into a discussion today with many interesting speakers. My name is Jafar Abdelkarim. I'm a journalist working for Deutsche Welle, and today you will be joining us to this public policy forum on youth and civil society in the Euromed region, which is organized by the Anna Lindh Foundation in the framework of the German EU Presidency and in the framework of the Foundation Virtual Marathon for Dialogue in the Mediterranean. Different organizations came together so we could have this discussion today. So this activity is organized by the Anna Lindh Foundation in partnership with the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Goethe Institute and ZAK as heads of the ALF German Civil Society Network, and Deutsche Welle is a media partner. So now we know who is organizing this, and now I would like also to mention that this forum coincides with the 25th anniversary of the Barcelona Process and with the 15th year of the inception of the Anna Lindh Foundation to promote dialogue across the Mediterranean. So today we want to know, we want to understand, we want to ask, where are we today? What are the challenges we're facing after 25 years? What are good practices? What are the needs? So that's exactly what Anna Lindh Foundation has been doing the last years, which is to understand, to exchange, to listen to others, and then to come up with even new ideas. And I have to mention, since we are a very international today, Euromed region, so there will be also translation. So we'll have Arabic, German, French, and English translation. And we'll be also being joined by different high-level speakers. And yeah, I would suggest we start by one of our high-level speakers, who is the Minister of State of the Federal Foreign Office in Germany, Mr. Niels Annen, and we'll see a video with him.
Dear President of the Anna Lindh Foundation, dear Ms. Gigue, dear Executive Director, dear Mr. Al-Sharif, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to send this message of welcome to the participants of today's virtual dialogue forum of the Anna Lindh Foundation. We would have been very happy to meet you all here in person in Berlin, but the pandemic has forced us to hold this meeting virtually. The launch of the Intercultural Trends report in the morning, as well as this dialogue forum, are an excellent occasion to highlight the importance of the first institution created within the framework of the Barcelona Process. The Anna Lindh Foundation fulfills a crucial role as a link between civil societies in the Euro-Mediterranean region. It is also the driving force for intercultural dialogue and exchange. In times where countries are closing borders and are restricting personal rights and freedom of movement, not only because of the current context of the COVID-19 crisis, we need a vivid and attentive civil society. The human dimension of this crisis comes on the top of already existing socio-economic, migratory, and interreligious problems. We have to overcome this seemingly growing divide through cooperation and communication between human beings from both sides of the Mediterranean basin. Against the backdrop of shrinking spaces for civil society actors, it is our obligation as governments to guarantee existing spaces and to create new spaces for exchange, primarily for young people. We have to present alternatives to the populist recipes of extremism, hate speech, oppression, and violence. Only together, with mutual trust, we will meet the challenges of our time: equal access to education, sustainable development, health, globalization, and of course, climate change. Our civil societies are important driving forces in this daily battle. Our role as government is to support these driving forces. We have to put trust in our youth, give them the voice, the resources, and platforms to realize their projects and dreams. This is one of the reasons why Germany has been one of the main donors of the Anna Lindh Foundation from the offset until today. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank the Goethe Institute as well as KIT and Karlsruhe for their strong commitment as the coordinators of the German network of the Foundation. There are more than 180 active associations in this network. The internationally renowned Bertelsmann Foundation or the broadcaster Deutsche Welle, but also smaller associations like the independent theater Boat People Direct in Göttingen or Heimathafen e.V., a local platform for equal opportunities in Munich. In this context, let me ask you to support the Network of Networks principles, the core element of the Anna Lindh Foundation, with their engagement, their knowledge, and their huge potential for connecting people and civil societies. Let us work together to make our common efforts in the Anna Lindh Foundation more visible in our multilateral connections and actions. Only together we can overcome the current fears and uncertainties and create a positive agenda for our common future. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by reiterating our belief in the strategic importance of the Euro-Mediterranean partnership. 25 years after the launch of the Barcelona Process, there is no alternative to cooperation and intercultural exchange. Now, I wish you all enriching discussions and constructive outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Niels Annen. I'm pretty sure we'll take his input and discuss it later with our speakers. And now I'm happy to be joined by President of the Anna Lindh Foundation, Elisabeth Gigue, and her remark, please.
Thank you very much, Rafa. Thank you for your work. Minister, Excellencies, dear friends, I would like on behalf of the Anna Lindh Foundation to welcome you to the Public Policy Forum on Youth and Civil Society in the Euromed region, organized by the Anna Lindh Foundation in the framework of the German EU Presidency and on the occasion of the 25th anniversary of the Barcelona Process. First of all, I would like to thank the German Federal Foreign Office and Minister Annen for his inspiring call for mutual trust and for their kind invitation and constant collaboration in the organization of the forum and the launch of the Intercultural Trends Survey, but also for the trust and political support to the mission and action of the Foundation since its establishment. And I want to have a special mention for the work of Ralph Lorik, our excellent president of the Board of Governors of the Anna Lindh Foundation. And I would like, of course, to thank particularly the European Commission and Mr. Popovsky, whom I thank to be with us today, acting director of the DG Neighborhood and Enlargement. Since director, you make our work possible every day, not only because of the important financial contribution ensured to the Anna Lindh Foundation for its sustainability, but also for the regular coordination we have established for the promotion of closer cooperation in the Euro-Mediterranean region. And I would like to state on this occasion that the Foundation is committed to deploy all its resources for the strengthening of the Euro-Mediterranean relations and EU neighborhood policy. And I would like also to mention especially Mrs. Enrique Trotman and her team, with whom we are regularly in contact and having excellent work as well. I would like to express also another special thanks to the Goethe Institute and ZAK, the coordinators of the ALF civil society in Germany, who have worked closely together with the ALF team towards this forum and do important work in Germany and beyond for the promotion of dialogue. Carolina von Trotta for ZAK and a member of our advisory committee, and Svenja Zaremba for the German network, really deserve to be thanked by us all for their excellent work. And thank you also to Deutsche Welle, our main media partner. The Mediterranean region has always been at the heart of continuous exchange and coexistence between the peoples of the southern and northern shores. We all remember that, all Europeans remember that the name of Europe came from the bank of east of the Mediterranean through the Princess of Europe, who was raped by Zeus. And so we have a long, long history in common. We have all sorts of exchanges, of course, from trade to exchange of knowledge and education, from religious coexistence to the circulation of culture. And those centrally long relations around the Mediterranean basin have created this shared history and established interconnected networks that continue to evolve. The Barcelona Process, of which we are celebrating its 25th anniversary, was launched to further strengthen the existing relations between the northern and southern shores of the Mediterranean. Hundreds of initiatives were introduced at regional and local scale to consolidate this cooperation and, of course, to support our youth NGOs around the region who have been mobilized to discuss and tackle together the causes of the issues they face. The 25th anniversary of the Barcelona Process coincides this year with an unprecedented global health crisis, which is having severe social and economic impact across the Mediterranean. The COVID-19 pandemic is at the same time a strong reminder of the need for coordinated cooperation across sectors and generations to come up with borderless collective actions to minimize the impact of the crisis. And we, Europeans and South and East Mediterranean, have a particular responsibility to tackle this first global human crisis all over the world and to show how our cooperation can enable us to overcome this crisis on all its aspects: health, economic, and social crisis. The Anna Lindh Foundation, which is also celebrating its 15th anniversary, is the first institution of the EuroMed partnership and has reached important achievements in the promotion of intercultural dialogue, providing civil society, journalists, youth, women, and communities in the region with the needed platforms to strengthen their cooperation, to celebrate their diversity, and to engage in sustainable dialogue. The promotion of intercultural dialogue means the nurturing of relationships every day, and this is a long-term work, which requires, on the one hand, the political support by all governments of the region and the commitment of all the organizations and people committed with the Anna Lindh Foundation in the fulfillment of this mandate. And it gives me pride to share the panel today with representatives of our civil society network from different countries of the region and young people involved in our main youth exchange programs, Young Mediterranean Voices and Erasmus Virtual Exchange. They will be sharing their views and recommendations, and will let us understand what EuroMed cultural and social cooperation is and of course also their ideas for the years to come. Today, the coronavirus pandemic has called on all of us to raise even higher our commitment to cooperation and international solidarity, and the Foundation is committed to the continuous development of our EuroMed civil society network and regional collaborations, on our work in intercultural learning and research, our exchange, youth exchange and empowerment, the use of arts and media as tools for cross-cultural communication beyond language barriers and cultural differences, the fight against gender and cultural stereotyping with a view to contribute to the set Green Deal objective towards 2050. Please, dear friends, stay until the end of this session to see the launch of the EuroMed Citizen Reporters website by ZAK and the German network, thanks to Caroline von Trotta and Svenja Saramba. Thank you, and I wish you an enjoyable discussion.
Thank you so much, President of the Anna Lindh Foundation, Elisabeth Gigue, and a lot of things that you said. I'm writing here, and I hope every one of you is already writing, because later we will have a discussion. So please, it's going to be later an interactive discussion, so you can write your questions and participate. And it is a platform today for exchange. And I'm now happy to introduce Director General for Neighborhood Policies and Enlargement Negotiations, Mr. Maciej Pawłowski, to hear your input about today's discussion.
Thank you very much, Jafar. I didn't put on my tie. I thought it would make me look a bit more useful, but looking at my picture, it didn't quite work out. But anyway. Thank you for having me. And of course, Anna Lindh Foundation is a dear partner to us. Madame la Présidente, je suis ravi de vous revoir. I'm happy to see you again, even though it's only online. But I'm always delighted to talk to civil society and the representatives of the youth. And indeed, as our moderator has reminded us, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Barcelona Process. There was a ministerial gathering last week, but this forum is not less important at all. The Anna Lindh Foundation can certainly be proud of the work achieved over the last 15 years, promoting closer relations between the people of both shores of the Mediterranean. It has developed a large civil society network, and it has contributed to a positive image of the Mediterranean. And we, as the European Commission, DG NEAR in particular, and thank you very much, Madam President, for your kind words. We are proud to be able to support your work. The pandemic is pushing everyone to reassess what we do and how we do it. And we don't know yet what the post-COVID world will look like. What we know that it will be different from what it was before. It's pretty obvious. And in some countries, the pandemic had a negative impact on civil society organizations. It was more difficult for them to operate. It still is in many places. There's increasing evidence of a negative impact of COVID-19 on mental health of people. There is an increase, a documented increase in violence against women or domestic violence, by the way, all over the world. And that's very worrying. So the pandemic also served as an excuse for some governments to limit the freedom of speech. And in a way, COVID-19 has been a super spreader event of fake news, misinformation, and hate speech. And so the virus also exposed the digital divide running across our societies, whether it's north or south. But despite all the negative impact that is real, I believe that pandemic is also an opportunity to rethink how we work with our southern neighbors. And I think there is a way of us addressing them in a more innovative and inclusive way. And in that context, the Commission will adopt in spring next year a policy paper, a communication as we call it, that will set out future priorities for the next decade or so in terms of social and economic development, but also climate change, digital transition. This is one of the top priorities of the Commission for next year. And Commissioner Varhelyi, who will author this initiative, started really in engaging in a profound dialogue. As a matter of fact, we spent a day in Morocco yesterday talking exactly about this. As I've said, COVID-19 outbreak has created a spike in racially and culturally linked incitements of violence and hate speech, and rebirth of violent extremism online, and this worrying rise of racism and xenophobia will certainly have an impact on our societies. Therefore, dialogue among cultures and civilizations and different religions, different people, not only the political elites, but societies at large, is a powerful tool in our fight against negative prejudices, and also a way of promoting mutual understanding and cultural diversity. There can be no peace in the region without mutual respect and understanding. And that was the backbone of the Barcelona process, actually, that started 25 years ago. It was also a laboratory, if you will, for intercultural action and dialogue with civil society, not only as a key actor, but also as a key objective of this unique political process. So civil society is widely understood to play an important role in reducing violence, in facilitating conditions necessary for building sustainable peace. The role of civil society as contributor to intercultural dialogue is prominent. In many cases, civil society has served as mediator and facilitator to reduce multicultural tension within our societies, and have helped to make societies more inclusive. The importance of civil society to foster cultural diversity and pluralism is even more underlined in the field of youth and media. We, the Commission, we stand ready to continue our support to civil society so that it's able to play this role. The civil society itself needs to continue to develop good practices on how to minimize media narratives that embolden negative cross-cultural stereotypes. There's a continuous need to build bridges between two shores of the Mediterranean through different exchanges and discussions and storytelling. And that reminds me of one of the projects that we are proudly funding, or been funding for a while, which is the Young Mediterranean Voices. I mean, I had the pleasure of attending a real live meeting with a very interesting sample of young people from the region a year ago, and I have to say that it was a really rewarding experience. Against the backdrop of fake news and misinformation, there is also a need for accurate and reliable information. It's pressing and it's visible, and of course we all use social media and we are exposed to social media, so we know how important it is to train journalists, to educate people in terms of cultural diversity, fighting stereotypes, media literacy, so that people are able to digest information, to make a distinction between what's true and what's not. And this is something we are very much attached to. And again, we've been supporting various initiatives with different organizations across our neighborhood region. So in the years to come, the Commission will certainly continue investing in youth and empowering civil society from both shores of the Mediterranean, and Anna Lindh Foundation will continue to be our dear partner of choice. So in conclusion, let me just recall that cultural diversity is an essential condition of human society, and when a society is not thought to socialize beyond its traditions and beliefs, it lacks a wide range of options for hopes and dreams. And I've been also taking some notes to be able to interact with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your input, and good to take notes because we will need them later when we start discussing. And usually when we would be now in a big room or in a conference room, would have like an applause, and maybe I'm sending to the three speakers so far and virtual applause for their input, for their insight, for their support, for exchange and intercultural exchange. And now we will listen to experiences, we'll listen to good practices, we'll listen to challenges, to needs from speakers who have been part of different projects by the Anna Lindh Foundation, who are from the Euromad region. And they will be talking about the different priorities that the Anna Lindh Foundation has set, as an example, for Euromad Mobility, youth exchange and participation, fight against gender stereotypes, and other important topics that have been already mentioned by our three speakers. And I'm very happy and very excited and really interested to listen and to understand what's going on in the different Euromed region countries. So we're happy to be joined later by Jacopo Chimino. He is part of the Erasmus virtual exchange from Italy. Hello, Jacopo.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. And from Italy, we go to Lebanon, and we're happy to be joined by Tala Zain, who is part of the Lebanese National Commission for the UNESCO. Hi, Tala. Tala, we cannot, you have to unmute your microphone.
Okay, hello.
Hi, just want to listen to the different voices because we are all somewhere alone. And so maybe here we feel each other much more. And from Lebanon, we go to Morocco, and I'm happy to be joined by Sarah Ahmad Al Ainain, Sarah Erasmus Virtual Exchange. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Jaffa.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. And then from Morocco, we go to Germany, and happy to be joined by Caroline Robertson von Trotau. She's from the Center for Cultural and General Studies, ZAK, in Germany.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, and look forward to our discussion.
Yes. So now we'll start with Jacopo, and he has an input that we will know more about the intercultural learning through virtual exchange. And yeah, let us listen, and we're excited.
So good afternoon to everyone. Thanks a lot for inviting me, first of all. I'm very pleased to be here. Thanks for offering me this opportunity of speaking about intercultural learning, which is an area in which I've been working for the last 5 years, and especially within the Anna Lindh Foundation Erasmus Plus Virtual Exchange Program. I've been working since June 2018. So I believe that intercultural learning is a very primarily important area of education, and I see it as a great opportunity for us to understand how many social phenomena and major challenges interconnect our countries. In a region as the Euro-Mediterranean region, where the countries are in fact much bonded at each other in terms of social, economical, political, and cultural aspects and development, I think that we cannot effectively address social challenges only with interventions in the single countries. We must instead think in a much wider perspective and understand that when certain countries are facing challenges such as youth unemployment, such as extremists, such as brain drain phenomena, and so on, for sure also the other countries of the Euro-Mediterranean region will be affected in many other ways. So that's why I believe that those challenges are not just common challenges, but rather they are challenges that interconnect us and our countries. Said so, I think that in this scenario, the intercultural learning plays a key role because when we invest on it, in fact, we are investing on solidarity and we are investing on dialogue. Especially for the program that I'm representing today, the Erasmus Plus Virtual Exchange, I've seen many youth that took part in this program and state their words, not my words, they state that after taking part in this program, they are much more keen and they are much more able to to improve the intercultural learning, and they are much more able to perceive the diversity as a value rather than as a threat. So they do not only accept or respect the diversity, but rather they see it as a value itself. And this means that we are working to foster mutual recognition among the youth of different countries of the Euro-Mediterranean region. I would like to speak very briefly about the Erasmus Plus Virtual Exchange program, which is a set of structured activities, great opportunities for the youth to develop, to improve their competencies within the intercultural learning. And I want to underline that we are not just speaking about youth meeting online to debate, but later we are speaking about a program that ensures quality. There is quality assurance. There are activities that are organized and moderated by experienced trainers and facilitators. And it's a program that is sustained over the time. So the good practices, the good results, they are sustained over the time. And also it's very important to underline that the program validates those competencies that are achieved by the youth. So there is, when the youth, when they fulfill the cycle of activities, they are entitled to receive a badge by the Anna Lindh Foundation that recognize the new skills and abilities that they have achieved. As for example, digital competencies, leadership skills, critical understanding, intercultural skills, cooperation, and so on. And as we know, those skills are very much transferable. So they do not just stay there theoretically, but they will benefit the youth that take part in this program. They will benefit them in their practical life. I just want to...
Can I interrupt you?
Okay.
Because we, Mr. Pawlowski mentioned digitalization and how it's affecting hate speech and sometimes playing a gap between the different Euromed regions. And instead of talking to and with each other, it's happening, we're talking about each other and not directly. How is this an operative level when what you're doing, how you're working on this specifically?
So that's where I think the structure of the activities play a key role. So this is, that's why, again, we have a different set of activities. So first of all is a heterogeneous offer that is offered through the program. And that's where the skills of the trainers, of the organizers play a key role. And there is many, for example, there are many occasions for the youth to re-elaborate what they have discussed, what they have debated. So trying to understand in a wider perspective, trying, of course, to foster the solidarity and the values that we want to achieve.
Okay.
And, if I may mention also, I think that
I have like, sometimes my job is really cool and sometimes my job is not so cool. And it's not cool when I have to say that everyone only has 4 minutes because we still have a lot of speakers.
Okay.
But I know you want to say something, so say it very, very shortly, please.
Okay. Very, very short. No, I just want to underline, as it has been said before, nowadays, as we're facing the pandemic, it's very much difficult to work on the field. So that's why I think we cannot travel in person today. It's very important to keep offering those opportunities to youth. So we are taking a different journey. It's an educational online journey, as we cannot travel in person. So I think that our borders are closed, but I invite the Anna Lindh Foundation to keep investing in this program, in which I believe very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jacopo, a very clear appel. And from Italy, we go to Lebanon, and we'll talk and know more about the civil society network empowerment and capacity building in times of crisis. Talazain, please.
So
please unmute, exactly. We cannot hear you. You have to unmute, please, again.
Yes.
Thank you. Now.
You are. Okay, so good afternoon, and thank you for having me in this interesting event. So my intervention will be on the topic of civil society network, empowerment, and capacity building in times of crisis. So we all know that United Nations refer to the civil society as a third sector alongside government and private businesses. And this is what the civil society proven during the crisis, especially during this pandemic period. So as the COVID-19 pandemic swept the globe, civil society organizations responded effectively, providing frontline help and defending the rights of people across the world. And a report released by Global Civil Society Alliance entitled Solidarity in the Time of COVID-19 highlights the irreplaceable role of activists, NGOs, and grassroots organizations during the pandemic, and calls on states to work to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 and create a better made a difference to people and communities experiencing the impacts of both the pandemic and emergency lockdown measures taken by the states, alongside responses to meet essential needs and offer financial aid. So civil society work to defend the rights of those vulnerable. Among people affected were women who became more exposed to gender-based violence while locked down at home, ethnic, racial, and religious minorities. Civil society rose to the challenge, campaigning for policies to protect excluded groups and creating remote services to help those vulnerable communities. In Lebanon, for example, a number of organizations used both.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
You talked how they should do it. Can you give us a very concrete example that you see as a positive practice?
Yes. So in Lebanon, for example, a number of organizations used both online and offline means to encourage women at risk from domestic violence to use its helpline, and as played a crucial role as well after the explosion ripped through Beirut ports. They help people, and they distribute food, medical supplies, providing psychosocial services. Many of the members of our Lebanese network not only engaged in immediate relief, but also launched projects dedicated to responding to the needs of affected people, and their role was more effective than the government, in fact. So these acts of solidarity performed by civil society and volunteers are now main success stories in the aftermath of this horrific event, stories of power and resistance of people coming together and supporting each other. So we have a lot of témoignages from the people who received this help.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I can see you're doing a lot. Can you give me one challenge you're facing in this pandemic as a civil society working on the ground?
Yes, for example, maybe it could be a lack networking activities has to be postponed and cancelled or digitized because of the pandemic. Two of many challenges faced by civil society during the pandemic.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tala Zain, from Lebanon, Lebanese National Commission for UNESCO. From Lebanon, we go to Morocco, and we'll have the theme, the topic that Sarah Ahmad Al Ainain will be talking about is fight against gender stereotypes. Let's use the time and directly to you, Sarah.
Great. I hope you can all hear me. So my name is Sarah and I am from Morocco, a youth activist in education and development. And I have to say that I am one of those youth that Jacopo talked about who just got engaged as a debater, and then I kept collecting badges, and now I am a trainer. And also I facilitate post-debate dialogue sessions. So I have to say that it did help me interact with a lot of people from different countries, like Carmen and Ahmed. We've worked together as educators, so it is helping us connect and do good things in our societies. As for my topic, I have to say that in contemporary Moroccan society, masculinity and femininity are defined in rigid terms, where gender roles are tightly prescribed. So it's unfortunate that women are still a minority whose major role is still tied to labels such as the housewife or the producers, especially in rural areas where girls are better off married. But also men are confined in tightly knitted boxes where they are the provider, or like they are not prone to emotions that are seen as feminine, which is bad stereotypes for both sides. And I can talk about an experience that I see that's worth mentioning. Is that I had the opportunity to take part in a German-Moroccan cooperation concerning gender inequalities and stereotypes. This team from Germany came to Morocco in partnership with a Moroccan association. And I have to say that it was very eye-opening for me, since I got the chance to comparatively analyze the efforts done in both countries and to understand that inequalities or stereotypes doesn't only exist in Morocco, but it's in the whole Euromena region, and we have to take a stand for it. So we learned a lot from each other in workshops. We reached a new level of cultural understanding, which I believe is an important component in fighting gender stereotypes. And on a practical level, we took up the task of implementing manuals which were the fruit of previously mentioned collaboration, of course. So we wanted to raise awareness, orient women and girls on their important role in society and the roles they can play in leading positive change. And I think that another point worth considering when we want to lead a positive change is promoting female role models, especially during this year. We've seen how successful, for example, Germany and New Zealand were in terms of handling the COVID-19 crisis, both led by powerful women. And we can compare them to other developed countries, which their handling the crisis wasn't so good.
Sarah,
in the same vein, yes?
I can see you have a pretty positive experience. How are you using this experience to give it to others? You are part of the Erasmus Plus virtual exchange. How are you giving it to others who are maybe not part or still not part?
So basically, first of all, I'm advising everyone in my community to be an Erasmus Plus, to get engaged as a facilitator, as a participant, as a debater. I think that it's one of the experiences that youth need to experience at least once. And as it happened to me and many of my friends who are now debaters or facilitators, we just keep inviting more people to this. And also, even participants in my sessions, they always say, I think that we should promote more change or more virtual exchanges like this one, because I've barely heard about it. And I think that many people would like to join as well. So this is something that we need to focus about more.
And I need to focus on time. That's why I'm really sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
But someone has to do it. And thank you so much, Sarah. From Morocco, we go to Germany. We'll hear more about intercultural cities and intercultural trends, research and innovation. And please, Caroline Robertson von Trotter, use the time and go ahead, please.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm fighting against time, so let me just start immediately. First comment, we have to realize that we have an important exercise with interdisciplinary research and intercultural understanding and exchange. Without interdisciplinary research, which goes over and above capacity building, but takes into account megatrends which are really changing our societies, then it is difficult to understand the backgrounds of the way values and also attitudes are changing over our Mediterranean region. We've seen in the trend survey that the attitudes and values don't seem to be so great if we accept the situation with the role of women, which is of course important. But at the same time, I think we have reason to be optimistic, and we have already heard and seen Young Mediterranean Voices as a program, and Erasmus Plus is important in that. And the other side of that coin is that we concentrate on having researchers able to communicate in languages which we understand. So they have to also learn what it is to have public communication on complex themes. Let me also point out, which of course we've all been talking about, we have the problem of fake news, we have the problem of ideological narrowness, we have also the way that knowledge is being manipulated, is being politicized, and so on. So we certainly have a major question of dissemination of cultural knowledge. And that's where I think we have to look at the cities. We tend to look across the Mediterranean region, but in fact, north and south are in our cities. So we should be looking more at what actually happens there. And I think it is extremely important to know that if seeing the largest populations in our cities, if cultural diversity in the city doesn't work, then it will not work on the whole for a question of societal nearness. Maybe just a quick, I hope so I have time just to quickly say, if we look at European cities, we have two major challenges. One is the structural, where we see there's evidence still now in many places of unequal participation in the labor markets, in educational opportunities, or also with regard to educational qualifications. So these are major points, and they are maybe made even more serious when we look at another point. The other point is that we have not paid enough attention to the management of city quarters. We have, in many places, we have the development of city quarters which are homogenic, where cultures do not meet. And so we have to organize meeting places. And that is where I think we have a huge possibility with the wealth of Anna Lindh. Anna Lindh is unique with its 4,000 civil society organizations. And of course, we are continuing with research, but also with online and offline opportunities of meeting. So maybe I can sum up. We have to see that even if we include policymakers, we need city policymakers. Yes. We need to realize that foreign policy starts with city policy, and see how we can engage at these different levels. And I think the contribution of Anna Lindh with its structure of civil society organizations in the networks is really quite unique and a huge opportunity.
Caroline, if you say it's quite unique and it's an opportunity, when you talked about diversity, you talked about there's also some cities who have monoculture. And you know, in Germany, we always talk about the word integration, you know, who yes. is integrated, who is not integrated. So what do you think, in a very short answer, what do you think, how could the work of Anna Lindh Foundation within the cities help in integration?
I think that for integration, which of course is a big concept, I could talk an hour about that and probably disagree with some and agree with others. But maybe with using the example of Stuttgart, which I was involved, in fact, in their concept for integration in the year 2000, and Stuttgart was given the UNESCO Prize for City of Peace in 2004. There we looked at the question of having round tables so that we really get to city grassroots, having people who of trust who are put round the round table and are asked to do so by their communities. So it's like rather like the sort of Erasmus Plus, but offline and involving not only capacity building, but real argument between the generations and between the cultures and communities.
Thank you so much for your input. So it's exactly what the Anna Lindh Foundation has been doing, I think will always be doing, which is bringing people together. Let's talk, let's exchange, let's know each other more. We had the first part of the forum with the 4 distinguished speakers. We had a lot of insight, and now we need some reactions. And I'm happy to hear reactions from Executive Director of the Anna Lindh Foundation, Nabil Al-Sharif. And I would go to the first reaction when it comes to fighting stereotypes. What's your input on that? What the Anna Lindh Foundation should work on more? What should be done?
Thank you so much, Jafar. Thank you. And of course, really what I heard too until now is very inspiring and highlights the importance of the mandate of the Anna Lindh Foundation. When it comes to fighting stereotypes, I think we have to be aware, first of all, what are the stereotypes that we are talking about. There are definitely racial stereotypes. There are stereotypes related to gender. So identifying these stereotypes is the first step. The second step is to look into ways of combating these stereotypes through exerted action that definitely highlights the role of the media. Media in its all various forms changes attitudes, changes people's attitudes negatively or positively. What it is doing now, unfortunately, is changing people's attitudes negatively. What we need is to engage media, and in order to do so successfully, we have to really begin training of journalists in covering gender issues, racial issues, cultural issues, because we cannot assume that all journalists are born aware of the issue. And yeah, please, yeah.
Yeah. I will interrupt you the way I interrupted everyone. So when you're talking about this concrete example as a journalist, I've been part of the Anna Lindh Foundation. I've been part of different workshops. I know how effective it is. I know what you learn to know the other perspective, to understand the other perspective. What is your focus like the next years when it comes to journalists? What's the core thing you want to provide to journalists from EuroMed region?
Yes, I think of course, when I say journalists, I cannot generalize. You know, people like you have been working in this field for many years. My background personally is also journalism. So, but we do have to recognize that there is a problem in covering racial issues, cultural issues, gender issues. There is a problem. What we would like to do at the Anna Lindh Foundation definitely is to start by training of journalists and training of trainers in order to ensure that the message is widespread. We would like also to work on social media, our own social media, by conveying messages that would help really alleviate the problem, if not put an end to it completely.
Mm-hmm. I would like to hear also a second reaction
before
from
you. Interrupted me. I stopped before you interrupted.
Thank you so much. But that's why I have another question now, and which is on intercultural cities. Caroline talked about it. What's your input on that?
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, what we heard so far on intercultural cities is again very significant and very important. What Caroline said is really significant. There is a need to develop actions. I was taking notes actually when she was speaking, to understand that diversity is a reality for most of the cities in the Euromed region. Diversity is indeed a reality, and our work at the Anna Lindh Foundation is promoting a shift into public policies. When we engage young people, for instance, we make sure that there is also a bridge always with policymakers, because if we keep theorizing and talking to each other in a room, nothing will change on the ground. So we always make sure that there is somehow the message reaches policymakers. When it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath, I think we need to invest much more on localized action, which can be connected to the regional dimension. Also, in order to raise the profile of the work on intercultural learning, I fully support the need for certification and the experience presented with the Erasmus Plus virtual exchange. So I think action is needed, concerted action is needed, and the beginning is or should be at the local level, taking it to the regional level. And we do have to remember always that we are not working alone. We have to connect our work with others, with other stakeholders and partners that are doing similar work. I think most of the work sometimes is lost because institutions do not do enough connections with others that have the same mandate or that are doing the same or similar work.
Thank you so much, Executive Director of the Anna Lindh Foundation, Nabil Al-Sharif. And now we're happy to hear reactions also from Mr. Masjid Spovovsky. He was, hopefully, listening and writing. And now he's ready to give us a reaction and a concrete example on civil society network empowerment and capacity building in times of crisis. How can the EU Commission do more on that?
That's the proof. I was taking notes. I always make doodles as well, so don't worry about it. Giving examples will take a long time, but indeed this is something we do as a rule in all the regions, that we are running civil society programs from Brussels, but we're also working with partners who do it for us. So Anna Lindh Foundation is one of them. There's European Endowment for Democracy doing useful, valuable work in the Balkans, in Eastern Europe, and in the South, working on free media, in empowering civil society organizations in innovative and very quick way. But if I may, I will just make two brief comments. One, because many of you have referred to Erasmus. For me, it is one of the big, real success stories of the EU. I mean, I will put it on par with Euro, with Schengen. This is really a big thing. And I'm really happy that the discussion on the future multi-annual budget is not over yet. And there are many outstanding questions. But one thing is sure, that everybody agrees that this is a priority. So the budget for Erasmus in the next 7 years will almost double because it is so badly needed. And what we do from DG NEAR, we use some of our funding to co-finance the participation of partners from the neighborhood, so that we can extend this network. This is a great investment. The other day when we were celebrating, I think it was half a year ago, the 20 years of the Erasmus program, I came across a figure of 9 million. 9 million people who benefited from the program in those 20 years. It's a whole generation. And it would be really interesting for someone, maybe some of you would be tempted to do so, to run a survey about their attitude to the other, to the differentiated society, to the exposure to a different culture, because I think they have a mindset that can serve as a model for many. And the second remark is a bit more personal. It's also about access to information and the value of it. I'm 56. I grew up in a communist country. I'm Polish. So I grew up when I was 15 and onwards with a lot of illegal literature, newspapers, magazines. Basically, most of the things I used to read, except classics like Hemingway or so, was illegal, because that was the real source. Now we don't need to do that. I think that the proliferation of unverified, false, and manipulated information is a bigger threat these days than censorship, although censorship still exists. And that's why once again, I'm sorry for repeating myself, the thing of media literacy and promoting and educating people in critical thinking is so important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a question for you. I would like to know from your personal perspective, what is the most important thing when it comes to dialogue between the Euromed region? What's the thing you say people coming from both regions should focus on nowadays? Because you have an experience in that, you have knowledge in that.
That we are building a partnership, so we are not there to impose anything. And that's also a message that we are passing across to our partners on the other side of the sea. That while building this future relationship, we really want to do it in a partnership of equals. So we're listening to them. We want to understand where the priorities are and invest in the areas that would really make a difference for them. Can be education, can be digital transformation, can be infrastructure, green energy. But this is the new paradigm, that we are not going there with pre-cooked ideas because we know better. No, we don't. And so we want to do it in a very inclusive way.
Thank you so much. I wish all European politicians share the statement you say, because sometimes it's not the case, but that's why it's good to exchange. That's why it's good to listen, to know each other more, and to continue doing exactly what the Anna Lindh Foundation has been doing and is still doing. And I cannot repeat it enough of being part of this foundation, being part of a participant of different workshops of this foundation. I really understand the value of exchange and knowing each other more. And so I'll also save time and go now to the next reactions and to President of the Anna Lindh Foundation, Elisabeth Gigue, to know more about her reaction on the speakers so far, please.
Thank you, Jafar. I will shift to French.
Okay.
I hope the translation worked well. It was the case this morning. Okay. Is it okay? Can you hear the translation?
Do we have it? We have a translation, right?
Yes, we do have the translation. Yes, we do. We do have the translation from French into English. Is it working? Can you hear me?
I don't speak so good French.
Should be hearing the English
so
translation.
You have a limited time, you know.
Then I will speak English.
We really appreciate, because I think
you
more
said
than the
at the beginning that we had translation to Arabic and French. Nevertheless,
I thought too, but now I got the update.
We all have some technical problems from time to time, so it's no problem. No, I want to say that in promoting and working for intercultural dialogue, we also serve bigger purposes and objectives. For example, Mr. Popovsky was very, very right in saying that there can be no peace in the region without mutual respect and civil society involvement. And this is at the heart of our convictions. In helping our youth through our programs, we help them to be better citizens and also to cherish peace and mutual understanding, which is at the core. And it is also very valuable what we do for example, job involvement. If I was 20 years ago Minister for Labor and Social questions, and we knew at that time, promoted programs where we not only address the job question technically, I would say, and training, professional training, but we try to work on the whole of the personality of youth as regards their access to employment. And I'm sure that the Anna Lindh Foundation programs contribute, although we do not do direct professional training, we contribute to a better access of youth to employment. And I would say, of course, that I was especially interested in the remarks made by Tala and Sarah on the question of gender equality, because this morning during the launch of Intercultural Survey, fourth one, that was a question that came very high, on the preoccupations of our citizens and youth. And it is very, very important not only to fight violence against women, to fight, because women are more victims of violence, poverty, unemployment, precarity, exclusion. And this is, I think we contribute with our program to try to ease, and to overcome this question. And of course, I was struck with a very intelligent remark by Sarah when she said that gender inequality are negative mainly to women, but also to men, because they put them, in boxes where sometimes some of them have difficulty to get out. And so the involvement of the young generation for gender equality is, of course, very important. And finally, I want to stress the priority that Caroline was underlining on the need to work in our cities, and the fact that the first fight against closure and the first fight in favor of diversity has to be done in our cities. In our cities, of course, also in the South and East Mediterranean. And of course, that we have to pay attention, and especially an acute problem in my country, in France, and certainly, and we talked about that with Caroline a certain number of times, especially when I came to Karlsruhe on her invitation and some years ago, how important it was to have those youth initiatives, to overcome, for example, the refugees exclusion, to fight, of course, all sorts of inclusion for our youth, and especially for our youth in Europe who comes from the South and East Mediterranean. And there we have, this is why the interaction of our societies, makes it maybe easier to tackle those very difficult challenges.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Elizabeth Gigue. And I was told to inform all of you that within the Zoom, we don't have translation, but the people on the platform who are following us have translation in 4 languages. But nevertheless, thank you so much for talking in English. So I can also, and I think other colleagues can also understand. So we had now reactions, and now we will be going to the next panel. We're going also jumping in the EuroMed region from one country to another. We'll be starting with Carmen Cuena. She's from the Young Mediterranean Voices in Spain. Carmen, I say like hola. Okay.
Hi everyone, hola a todos.
Hola. Nice meeting you. From Spain, we go to Tunisia, and we're happy to be joined by Anis Boufrika, and he is part of We Love Sus.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm the head of network of Anna Lindh Foundation, Tunisia.
Welcome, Anis. Yeah. Also. And then from Tunisia, we go to Egypt, and happy to be joined by Ahmed Yassin, who's a Young Mediterranean Voice. Hi, Ahmed.
Marhaba. Hello, hi.
زيك.
أهلا وسهلا. الحمد لله. أهلا وسهلا.
Nice. And from Egypt, we go to Cyprus, and happy to be joined by Javier Esteban Cabanillas, who's part of the Rooftop Theater when it comes to media and arts. Javier.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hi. Buenas tardes. Kalimera sas. Nice to be here.
Nice meeting you too. And we'll start with Carmen, and I would love to listen to your input.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's been a pleasure to discuss with you all about all the topics that matter. So I'm expected to talk about arts as a tool of integration in multicultural cities, and I aim to give you a perspective from the local sphere. Well, as a volunteer and NGO coordinator, arts have really helped me to overcome language barriers and bring social cohesion among diverse youth groups in my city. Integration does not happen by itself. It needs to be planned and strategically developed. Arts is a powerful tool for the inclusion of people who are excluded for whatever reason in the city. I had the amazing opportunity to organize groups of girls and boys from Rabat, Fez, Oran, Alicante, among other cities, in the same team working towards sustainable development goals. That's what theater, painting, photography, arts in general allow us. We may not be able to express ourselves in the same language, but we do share similar interests, aspirations, and goals. And arts allow us to communicate within the group and with the rest of the civil society. I really want to highlight that because it's not only what happened in the group, but also the message that we share to the rest of the community. I would like to highlight too that when we were talking about local approach and city approach, I think that it's even more needed to be more local. Local need to be more local, because sometimes we try or we aim to bring intercultural dialogue to cities, but still there are many neighborhoods that remain excluded from that initiatives. So we need to have that neighborhood approach in our minds if we really want to don't leave anyone behind.
Carmen, how did this, what you're doing, changed you personally?
Well, it's a huge topic. Well, I started to be a volunteer since I was 18 because I grew up in a village. We were all the same. We had no immigrants there, and it was challenging when I went into the university and I realized that there were many people from all over the world, and we were almost segregated because there were the table of the Russians, the table of the Chinese people, the table of the Black people. So I started to feel more involved with that matter when I came to the university. And I have no even words to express how that Mediterranean voices helped me to boost all the ideas that I was having in mind, but I couldn't find a way to make them a reality. So for me, it was a really amazing experience, enriching experience. That it helping me to direct my career and my pursue a job in that matter, and I think that I could not be able to do so without my experience in volunteer and in the international and also in the local level.
Thank you so much, Carmen, for your input and knowing more how that affected you. From Spain, we'll go to Tunisia and we'll talk about the Euromad Mobility with Anis Boufrikha, please.
Thank you, Jafar, for this opportunity. I thank the organizer for the choice of this so important topic with the Anna Lindh Foundation. Once again, Anna Lindh Foundation demonstrates that it is among the unique structure of the region which works for interculturality and mutual understanding. I will talk about Euromad Mobility. The region has always been a region of mobility, whether the reason of trade, war, construction of new cities, etc. We can also say that it is due to the mobility of Marco Polo that the Italian discovered pasta. Imagine for one moment Italy without pasta. Nowadays, the concept of mobility has taken many forms, and I would like to talk about intercultural exchange as a motor of development and mobility through the region. We developed the experience of mobility through artist residency by bringing together several Euromed artists during the Anna Lindh forums around intercultural expression in crisis zone in 2017 and 18th in Tunisia. They came from Spain, Morocco, Greece, etc. And several of them have never imagined that they have never met other nationalities during artist residencies. They work around the concept of ishq, which is supreme love, and they sang Sufi texts from 14th and 15th century celebrating love and mutual understanding. This has changed their vision, their judgment and understanding of the other, and suddenly their entire existence. Really, it was very important for them, and since interculturality and mutual understanding has become a transversal line in their works and propagated through their music and arts to all their fans in the whole world. With Anna Lindh Foundation, we are preparing a new residency from 2021, and we encourage the development of this initiative for the huge added value. We also experience South-South mobility. When we talk about mobility, we talk also about South-South mobility through European project called 2521 project, which encourage the mobility of young people between the Maghreb region through cultural, academic exchange, and social entrepreneurship. We have experienced through this project the enormous potential that the countries of the South can exploit through the development of mobility between them. We call on decision makers to develop again and again and again this kind of mobility while developing South-North mobility and South-South mobility. The whole world has experienced the frustration of the lack of economic and social opportunities due to the lack of mobility through the restriction linked to COVID-19. This is a daily frustration of our citizens in the South. This is caricature of what our young people and our citizens are experiencing in the South of the Mediterranean. Every day, we have always learned that mobility is a fundamental right of the Charter of the Human Rights. I remember that in 1986, the visa was not imposed and there were less wars, famine, and climate change. We ask ourselves also the question if the visa solve the problem, if this kind of system solve the problem. To minimize violence, and finally I will close, intolerance, ideological crimes, we have no other choice but to develop mutual understanding and exchange between cultures. And this necessarily involves encouraging mobility and intercultural exchange, which in my opinion is not a necessity, but vital for peace and the development of our civilization for future generations. Thank you, Jafar, and thank you for all participants for this opportunity.
Thank you, Anis.
And it was in English.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you so much for that, Anis. I would like to use your part of the discussion today and your expertise when it comes to what's the one point which is so important to you, if we say coming from the North African a country you would like to address to the European, on the other side, if I say from the Mediterranean, to people who should know and listen about it. What's the point you always say, that's one point, please listen and
to know what other civilizations are. That's very important, to know others and to increase the comprehension of the other culture. Culture are not a little only films or stereotypes or some camels or some Sarah, etc. Culture is more and more and more important than this. And mobility is one of the most important tools to help people to know each other and to minimize and to decrease this big and huge crimes, ideological crimes and violence. I'm sorry.
So much. This was a speech almost like the first one. Thank you. Thank you, Anis. From Egypt, we go to, from Tunisia, we go to Egypt, and happy to listen about environmental awareness and respect, and with Ahmed Yassin. Please go ahead.
Hello, hi. I will try to be time efficient as much as possible. So thank you, Jafar, for having me today. And thanks to the Anna Lindh Foundation. It's always an aspiring foundation for lots of work to be done for our beloved Euromed region. Also, greetings to my honorable speakers and the distinguished guests. I will be talking today about the importance of the climate change and environmental respect. Coming from the word respect, it's really important because we are the part of the environment. We are part of the environment. We're not just, it's what we call a background noise and we are living with it. It's really important and we are part of the equation that we need to be working on. That reflects what's happening those days from lots of movements, initiatives, NGOs, green businesses, and social enterprises, which are coming directly from my generation and working to identify the problems and how to unify the vision to treat the climate crisis as a one world problem. And I see it as a one world problem. Climate change isn't a myth or a luxury that we have to work on. It's a fact. And that will create a crisis to our present and future generations. And we have to be more aware that we will face the implications of such thing. And if we didn't act immediately, it will be like another pandemic that we are facing this year, which is the unprecedented pandemic of COVID-19. So we need to overcome such thing. I do believe that we didn't waste time, my generation, speaking about the problem. We have leapt into action. And that's one of the greatest things I'm proud to speak about. So since 2018, we have conducted more than 50 beach cleanups in Egypt and numerous workshops transforming business into more sustainable form and many awareness campaigns to advocate for the problem that's happening because of the single-use plastic. For example, one of the most devastating pollutions happening. Also, speaking in case of the renewable energy to be implemented. And that happened by small initiatives who have been advocating for the part. As part of my organization, Ballastic Contribution, we had been part of the big initiative called Egypt Ban Plastic, which really had an influence and acted as a pressure group to inspire the government to take measures regarding the single-use plastic. And such an initiative had succeeded in legislating the banned single-use plastic law in 4 cities, effective immediately, which was really lovely. Also starting 2020 with the other 2 cities, and also introducing the new law 2020 of the waste management. This is why, and also taking a place, we had flourished a new initiative called Sology for renewable energy usage in the factories of Egypt. This is why I do propose the establishment of a platform called the Green Euromed platform to take the successful initiatives which are happening and taking place in Egypt or other countries like in both banks, I have to be honest. So it's called Green Euromed Platform to be to the next level, to amplify the signal and to unify the efforts, to be joint forces. That Green Euromed Platform will connect environmental experts, youth movements, initiatives, NGOs across the 2 banks and of the Med to expedite the course of action towards this. So trying this, I would like to use the power of the Young Mediterranean Voices as a program. And I know you will interrupt me right now, so I'm trying to conclude. So,
noticed that.
So also the Young Mediterranean Voices was the same thing that really worked brilliantly on the matter, and lots of things like migration, like intercultural dialogue. So we need to get that back and forth in another platform, and how to be sustainable and to be successful. Yes, of course, yes.
Thank you, Ahmed. A very, very short question. When we talk about climate change, according to your experience, you gave your recommendation having a platform. Is there enough awareness, interest when you talk to people about it? Or they say, you know, I have been experiencing that, saying like, our priority is now different. We have to find food. We have to this and that. Is there interest? Is there awareness?
I want to say that I'm not really optimistic at all, but this is a fact that people now are aware, given what happened because of COVID-19 and how the link between the disruption of the environment and the pandemic outbreaks, which happened, the awareness in Egypt. So I can say since 2017 now, we got lots of news, lots of media exposures about what's happening regarding the environment. Also, and now we are speaking about the what we call it the Green Deal, which is now everybody and every even youngster know what's going on about the Green Deal. I've been reading about it a lot, maybe 60% now of the university students. So yes, we have an awareness. Yes, of course.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. And from Egypt, we'll go directly to Cyprus. I like when you're online, you can like jump from one country to another within a sentence. And that's why
of course.
from Egypt
without visas.
Yeah, so and I'm already in Cyprus, and I'm happy to be joined by Javier Esteban Cabanillas. I hope I'm saying it right. And we'll focus on arts and media.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm also very happy to be here. I have to thank the Anna Lindh Foundation for the invitation to speak and to be between you today, this afternoon. So thank you very much. I'm going to be in charge to talk about arts and media within the EuroMed region. And preparing this speech with my colleagues, we were talking about, we made a small reflection about which are the strengths of arts in our region and also which are the challenges that we are facing regarding art and media productions. So I'm going to pass through the strengths because I think more or less we know, but maybe I will stop a little bit more in the challenges because maybe it's where we have to spend our time and also our main efforts. So as a strength, I mean, art is a language beyond languages. So there is no lingual barriers when we are facing, let's say, art expressions also capable to reach big audiences. Now we have very good examples, you know, with cinema documentaries and also virtual exhibitions that now also in the COVID-19 year, they are getting quite a lot of relevance. Art and media expression also improve the level of communication. It's adding new factors like creativity, intuition, or imagination. But I would like to emphasize actually how art and media expression awares about our common heritage, actually, which is one of the big or the main or the good recipes, you know, in order to promote dialogue and also to achieve understanding and reconciliation. Said that, I'm going to go through the challenges that we are facing, and actually I'm realizing that we have the same challenges that other aspects that were discussed here. Actually, I agree with our colleague Anis that mobility is one of the big challenges that we are facing right now regarding art and media expressions. Since let's say the economical support is not that big for artists, they don't make that amount of money and that big amount of money, and now to move between countries is an issue. Especially, I would like to emphasize the role of our, let's say, South Mediterranean South Mediterranean neighbor countries, because also to get sometimes visas in order to travel to expose their art expressing to other countries is a big issue. So maybe we have to, let's say, strengthen that ways, let's say, in order to make them able to improve their mobilities. Also, we are realizing that regarding the information and the dissemination that we made about our art expressions, we have to improve these channels as well. And also we have to raise our capacities to let's say, advertise and disseminate the results of the artistic expressions, because we will be able to reach like a bigger audience if we raise these capacities. So now I would like to, if I have time, Jafar, I would like to tell you like, or to introduce you some best practices that are happening currently actually within our...
You have 1 minute.
Okay, more than enough. So yeah, I would like to talk about, for example, the Buffer Fringe Festival, which is currently happening now in Cyprus, and it's an international festival. We have artists from all around the world. It's happening actually in the buffer zone of Cyprus. You know that Cyprus is a divided country, and there is like a kind of exclusion zone. It cannot be used for citizenship, except for this festival, and all the representation, artistic representation are happening there. This festival is run for a civil society organization who is not an artistic, but probably they are trying to, let's say, to take advantage in a good way of this impact and this universal language that art is bringing. And they are actually members of the Cyprus network of the Anna Lindh Foundation, as well as the Euro-Arab Youth Music Center, which is organizing festivals in Limassol, public festival, but also artist residencies where they are intercultural exchange, music exchange, everything regarding art. And also, I would like to finish talking a very good initiative about media and culture, which is a reference for all the community that we are working regarding art projects, which is babelmed.net, which is a multi-plurilingual portal where you can find all the news all the news related with culture that are happening in the Euro-Mediterranean region. So it's in many languages, it's very updated, and as I told you, it's a big reference for all the people that we are involved in this world of arts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Javier, for your input. Wow, we had so much interesting insight, input, information, experience, good practice, challenges, recommendation, needs, and this is very clearly been very good accepted by the people who are joining us. More than 200 people are with us and listening to what you're saying. We have now the possibility for questions. And the good thing is you also have some compliments that we received. Before going to the questions, let's just read one compliment. It's for all of you. Compliment to the participants. Thank you also to, in particular, was said to Anis. And thank you so much for Mrs. Elisabeth Gigue for your strong statements. Glad to be with you and learn from the new things discussed in these meeting today. And we have other compliments, and I would advise everyone to give us your name and where you're from. So we are like traveling all over today and having a lot of compliments, but also questions. So first question, are you ready, all of you? Like, yes, you're ready. Okay, that's great. From Ahmad Ali in Libya to Nabil al-Sharif, from the Libyan Organization of Debates, having been part of the Young Mediterranean Voices and working with many inter-Mediterranean programs, among others have found optimism in working towards change. I want to ask the speakers if they could share some of their experience with policymakers and how they were able to work on, or at least pave the way to hard results in the countries in our region, especially considering how important an end goal this is. Mr.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Yes, one of the main strengths of the work of the Anna Lindh Foundation in general and our flagship program, Young Mediterranean Voices in particular, is that it establishes this link between young people and policymakers. He asked me the question. The gentleman who asked if I had an experience with that. Yes, I did have an experience in Malta, attending such a debate. It's called 5+5. 5 ministers from Europe, 5 ministers from North Africa, and then there was a debate of young people trying to reach out to these ministers. I remember a Libyan young lady who spoke very emotionally about the situation in her country and of course, the devastation that happened in Libya some years ago. And I could really see the impression on the ministers' faces and the decision and the discussion that went on between them. So yes, really, we should do more of that, establishing this link, because neither young people nor ministers have a chance to really talk to each other and have a direct link.
Thank you so much. I'll go to the next question, which is from Najah Hosni Ali Khalifa, the chairperson of the Egyptian Association for Youth and Community Development. And he's asking, what are the opportunities to support innovative and diverse learning styles for the disabled and opportunities for positive change towards societies more accepting of diversity? He didn't mention. I would go for Madame Gigue, if you would please, if you have an input on that. Yes. We can, now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think that our programs are also a means to fight inequalities, because when we train to exchanges, we train them to express themselves, to be citizens, and to be able to address to policymakers and to people who make the decisions. And this is very important. And I remember a certain number of debates where those youth who were there, who had been members of our programs, were asking me, what should we do to have your career, your position? And I said, the first really thing to do is to be part of your local society, is to engage in your city life or your rural life, is to involve yourself in associative initiatives, and therefore you will attract the attention of decision makers, of politicians, first the mayor, and then maybe of ministers. I must say that I have the privilege in my country, in all the ministerial posts that I was honored in which I was honored to be, I always worked with NGOs, because I think that it is very important that there is this mixture, and so the best way is to go to decision makers, maybe to run for elections, of course, to be in the local governments to begin with, and then maybe to express themselves further on in parliaments and of course in the media. So our programs are a preparation and a training for citizenship, in fact.
Thank you so much. And then I'll go to the next question. We have a lot of questions, but we're running out of time, but we'll make the best out of it. And my question is as follows. Nuruddin Aradi I hope I'm saying the right name. I know sometimes in Arabic it's different. Aradi is right. We most of the time talk about dialogue, and things can be successful through dialogue. So please, it will be wise and helpful to get a concrete definition about what we mean with dialogue. Dialogue as a term is clear, but what is meant in practice? Sarah.
I'll go precise and I will talk about intercultural dialogue as it is mostly more concrete to talk about it. So intercultural dialogue is getting to understand the backgrounds, but also the experiences for people from their own country or their own perspective. Because dialogue, as you said, it's important, but do you implement active listening? Also, it's a critical thinking. When we are talking about dialogue, we are also talking about what's the self-awareness of, are you self-aware of your opinions and how they impact society and others? So I think we should always take these in consideration when we are talking about intercultural dialogue.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dialogue in itself, it's a discussion between two people who are trying to find common.
I'll go to the next question. People are still sending questions, and the establishment of the Euro-Mediterranean City of Dialogue Award can be one effective way for Anna Lindh, not only Anna Lindh Foundation, not only to support and reward the city for its successful intercultural policies, but also to set an example for other cities to promote intercultural dialogue and cooperation in the region. I don't see a question, but maybe Caroline, you can comment on that because you talked about this.
Yes, I think that making an award means that we're really making the importance of the question visible. And I think this is the whole thing. And it ties up things we do in any case, but puts it tying in NGOs at the local level and things which have been said with policymakers and with town councils. And, you know, town councils are pretty pleased to have their cities associated with big labels like UNESCO City of Peace. So I think a city of intercultural dialogue is really a very, very good idea, and it means they really have to get their act together. They have to do things. They don't just get an award. They have to see, well, what do we have? What is our state of the art, and how do we improve? So I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you so much for your input. We still have questions, but unfortunately, time is running, and a lot of compliments for all of you for your insight. I think people are really happy. This interactive discussion, they had a lot of insights, input. So thank you, everyone. Maybe you're sitting alone in a room, but feel the vibe, feel the energy. It's so nice from all over the Euromed region coming together and to talk. We still have a surprise. We mentioned it at the beginning. Madame Gigue mentioned it at the beginning with the video. But before going to the video, a very, very, very please short remark. We would like to hear from you, Madame Gigue, and then from you, Mr. Nabila Sharif, but a very short one, please.
I wondered yesterday, what would be this online forum since the previous ones, which I attended in Marseille and in Malta, were of course full of thousands of youth and participants, and it was a tremendous success, I think, because we need to do what we can in this difficult situation. But I think thanks to you, Jafar, thanks to all of you, and I am happy to have been with Anis again, because we met a lot in Tunisia recently. So thanks to you all.
Thank you. Mr. Nabil?
Yes, thank you so much. The Anna Lindh Foundation is celebrating 15 years since its launch this year. And I was asked in some other occasions whether the mandate of the Anna Lindh Foundation is still valid today in 2020. And really my answer is that I think the mandate of the foundation is more valid now than ever, because not only did we have the same challenges that we struggled with in the past 15 years, but we have new challenges now as a result of the pandemic I think the world will look differently after this pandemic is over, when it is over, with new and persistent challenges. So the discussion today really was very inspiring, and I can see many connections between the presentations that were done by the different speakers. So this really validates what we are doing, and with your support, all of you, I'm sure we will continue to do this work. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your final words, and thank you every one of you for your contribution, for your recommendation on the different topics. Every one of you is working on it, believing in it, changing what he or she can do, and we will take all this recommendation and make them hopefully soon to reality. And that's then for the Anna Lindh Foundation a lot to do, but did already a lot. So it's good to hear and have the input. And as we already said, we have like a surprise, and there's a video that is prepared, and would like to present for you something very special. And that's why the next minutes you really have to be like enjoying the input of our next video, because we're celebrating the launch of a new virtual citizen reporters campaign with you. It's starting now, and you have to watch the video till the end, because you will know the secret link to the Citizen Reporters campaign website, which will be announced by Madame Gigue, President of the Anna Lindh Foundation. So get ready, enjoy, and write down the secret link in order to know more about it. So I would say now, as if I'm presenting in TV, let's watch the video.
The year is 2020. Life in the whole Euromad region, as in the entire world, has been deeply affected during the COVID-19 crisis. Many borders are closed. The civic life and all creative and artistical forms of participation have entirely come to a standstill. Well, not entirely. We have found many active citizens who are still strong and active, creative and diverse. On the local level, they are releasing small initiatives that give hope. They are expressing their solidarity with citizens of the entire region. Intercultural dialogue among people is still alive despite closed borders or challenges on the multilateral level.
It is thanks to the enthusiasm and strong commitment of so many inspiring, creative members of our civil society networks that we are able to realize this virtual storytelling initiative and thereby react to this very challenging situation for citizens of the entire region. Yes, yeah, sorry. Sorry, I just heard there's a very important message from London. I will hand over to my colleague Samia Akasha. Samia, are you there? Wait, I will give you the word.
Thank you, Svenja. We are convinced that, especially in these days, it is important that civil society actors know about the mutual support and that we are aware that we are not alone in this pandemic, that we share our views with each and everyone, our experiences, our stories, and initiatives of hope and solidarity. And we want to use this situation, when many activities are on hold, as an opportunity to exchange ideas of how real change can happen after the pandemic.
I am very happy that we can launch the first videos on our website today. This would have not been possible without the great collaboration with one of our network members, the Candid Foundation, the support of the German Federal Foreign Office, and the outstanding co-creation of the project with Samia Akasha, one of the Young Mediterranean Voices and Erasmus Plus Virtual Exchange alumni.
The storytelling project captures civil society's views in a citizen journalist campaign on life in the Euro-Mediterranean region during and after the COVID-19 situation pandemic. We are therefore conducting interviews with citizens of the region. Some of them are members of the Anna Lindh Foundation network, some of them are members of youth programs, and the others are contacts from our partner organizations. You behind your screen, you are still invited to participate in this project.
These interviews will be presented in short video clips on our new website. Our interviewees share with us examples of grassroots initiatives that support the small utopias in their communities and that have been put into practice locally across the region.
These Euromed citizen initiatives will be added to the interactive map in December and January. Small utopic initiatives that our interviewees share with us will be included in the interactive map on the website. The first clips will be online today. Up to 40 clips and citizen initiatives will be going to be released in the upcoming weeks, clip by clip, so it's worth visiting the website regularly. And we are very proud that Madame Gigue, who is president of the Anna Lindh Foundation, will now launch officially our website.
I am very happy to officially launch this excellent, very excellent initiative. The project EuroMed Citizen Reporters shows us how closely we, the citizens of the Euro-Mediterranean region, how we are all connected. The current COVID-19 pandemic affects every single citizen in our region, not only in their private lives, but also in their work and engagement on behalf of civil society. I want to thank the German network coordinators of the ALF, and especially my friends Caroline and Svenja and Samir, who have developed the project together with one of our Erasmus Plus alumni and the Candid Foundation, supported by the German Federal Office. The initiators have found new virtual ways of presenting the value, the dynamism, the energy, and the innovative strength that engaged citizens provide for shaping our society. I hope you can see this very beautiful poster. And I have the honor to cut the red ribbon. I declare the website has officially launched, and I wish you all insightful and encouraging experience when exploring it.
And now I invite all the interviewees and participants, everyone who has contributed to this project or who wants to participate later on, everyone who wants to get in touch with people of this inspiring network, explore our website and visit us again within the next months. There will be a lot to discover in the upcoming weeks. We are looking forward to meeting you all again in person soon. Till then, stay safe and let's ensure ourselves mutually we are still here.
So I should get the mic now. I have a very non-scene microphone now. It was really nice. I think it's an amazing video, an amazing campaign, and I think I'll like hurry up directly and visit it to know more about it. So every one of you participating today, every one of you being part of this forum, don't forget to be part of this campaign. Don't forget to go and share it on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you want, so everyone can be part of it, everyone can see it, because we already saw it was like hard work to get where it is today. And with this, we came to the end of this forum. For me, listening to so many inputs was really, I mean, I had the feeling I traveled like all over the Euromed region and I know more about it. And that's exactly, it's about exchange and knowing each other more. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of it. Thank you for every one of you who contributed to this today. And thank you for the Anna Lindh Foundation and partners. It's very important as a moderator always to mention also the partners. And that's why, listen, please, I'll just say the partners and then into it. So Anna Lindh Foundation, in partnership with the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Goethe Institute and ZAK as heads of the Anna Lindh Foundation German Civil Society Network, and Deutsche Welle as main media partner. Thank you everyone for joining us. Keep on dialogue, keep on exchanging, and important, stay safe. Thank you so much. Ciao. Bye-bye. Ma salama. Goodbye. Au revoir. Everything. Bye-bye. Take good care. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Jafar. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.